right opportunity to talk. So it's not just, you know, you want to talk and they're not ready for it. So, maybe plan something. But also, guys, you can also just like respond a little bit. Just don't have to be silent.
Okay. Exactly. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Well said. Okay, so case in point. Perfect. Perfect. I like that both sides have expressed exactly what we're talking about. All right. Thank you so much, Joe. Yeah, I think you can mute your mic now. Okay, great. Thank you. So perfect. Joe has just expressed exactly how it feels for many times when the woman comes and expects the man to talk and he's not giving access. It's like access denied, bing, bing, access denied, right? But what do we do in these kinds of situations? It's just like meeting a locked door. So you have the option of knocking. You check, the door is locked. Knock, knock, the door is locked. What do? You could walk away and say, maybe nobody's home. And then maybe you come back later. The person who is in the house could say, no, don't knock anymore. Come back later, come back in 10 minutes. That's what happens in real life. It's the same way in the relationship, that if you don't want to speak just yet, you need to say, can we not talk about this right now? Can we talk about this later? And then when you say that, then you need to be the one to bring up the topic later. And you need to schedule. It's important also to say when later. Let's talk about this tomorrow. Let's talk about it next week. Let's talk about it in a few days. A few days, of course, should be 3 or 4 days max, right? Because if you say a few days and 1 week later, 3 months later, we're still waiting for a few days, then that's not fair. Okay, so that's an expression of an emotional boundary. It's good to have those boundaries because we're human beings, we're individuals. Even in a marriage, there are things that you may want to speak about, but not just yet. But ideally, we should be open books to one another so it's easier to relate because you're building your lives together. But where you have those kinds of scenarios, it's important to communicate clearly and to let your spouse know that they have access. It's just that right now you're processing things. I remember early in marriage, and I think I've mentioned this here before, it used to be such a trial for me because I think I also mentioned that women tend to process as we talk. Like we talk to process things. We haven't finished processing it. We don't need to finish processing it before we talk. We can talk to work things out. But men usually would want to process it first and then talk. And I didn't understand that. So I'd come and be, very vocal about this matter and that matter and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points. What do you think? Silence. I'm waiting. I don't understand. Is this a pause? Am I on hold? Should I hold the phone and wait? Am I expecting another sound? Did somebody hang up on me? What just happened? Until we learned, as we grew, that, okay, I need to know that you need to process. That thought that I need to process this. I'm still thinking about this. I need to hear that part so that I understand that this will be dealt with, just not yet. And that made such a difference. And for many couples, this little thing I've said is a big rift, okay? Or a big rift causer. Wow, there are lots of people who want to join the stage. Okay, we'll get to it, okay? So, hey, Kifa is here. Okay, see you soon on stage. Let's quickly rush through the rest. So one is emotional boundaries, okay, between the couple. There are other boundaries. Somebody just unmuted. Joe, I think
I didn't mean to put my mic.
yes.
No, you can mute her, Tolu. There's 3 dots on the top right-hand side.
No, I think she's muted. It's okay.
Yeah, but you can mute them. Next time, just mute them. And then kick her off the stage. Ban her from the studio forever.
Oh my goodness.
I'm joking.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Dr. Amaka, we see you as well. Welcome. I'm just saying.
Right. Thank you. Oh, Dr. Amaka's here. Thank you.
Can I say one thing? sometimes in the heat of the moment, and I am one to really easily like forgive and forget. Like I hate holding on to any sort of grudges. But you have more vivid points in the moment. And I have learned to process, but I feel like the vivid points in the moment are important. So that's my only point.
Yeah. So that's the trial, right? Understandably, women, so like we said, because women are processing as they're talking, we're hoping that we can have this conversation that will help us unravel what we're saying. We'll figure it out and both of us will now be at peace. Unfortunately, that's not the process that the man is naturally wired to use. And so what we need to do is now understand one another. Okay, his method of processing is different from mine. So I'm going to hand this stuff to him that I'm still processing. He will process it. He will get back to me with what he thinks about what he has processed. I will still have more time to process it, but I won't have to deal with the complication of thinking, oh my God, with all this I'm having to deal with, this man is still, he's just being hostile. He's not being vocal. I don't even know what he's thinking. I'm second guessing. I'm imagining. I don't have to deal with all of that because now I know this is what is going on. Can you see? I think I've just helped some marriages right now because just that can be a major source of conflict. Okay, so thank you, Joe, for that. All right, so that's one, emotional boundaries. Another is physical boundaries. What do you do when your spouse walks in and you just wish to leave you alone? Alone time, is that allowed in a marriage? Can I have some space, just me? Is that okay? Or does that mean I'm seeing someone? Does that mean I'm having an affair? Should my spouse be worried because I just need space? What do you think? So let me hear comments. I think we can't really do comments on everything at all. So we'll just do comments on this one and move to the next category of boundaries and see how that goes. So comments, yeah, let me see if let's get
hi Tolu. Your camera is playing back. While you're speaking, your recording is actually playing back. I don't know if anyone else can hear it.
Oh really? Like echo?
Yeah, no, it's playing back as you stream.
Do you have two tabs open, Tolu? Do you have your LinkedIn tab, event tab, or not?
So it's playing back.
Like I can't hear it, to be fair. So I can only hear you once. I don't know whether.
Does anybody else hear?
No. I don't think so.
Now I hear you great, so I'm not hearing it. I hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I hear you, but what you said earlier is now playing back in the background. I don't know if it's my system, but it's actually playing back.
It sounds like you, Kiefer. You got two tabs open.
Yeah,
maybe you will listen to the recording at the same time.
Yeah,
probably. I'll go and check. See a bit.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. So,
Luz, what's your take?
Good evening. I will introduce myself. I'm Loes Pijpers from the Netherlands. Good evening, everybody. And first of all, Eny, you have so much humor. I always have to laugh, and there are serious topics, but you always bring it alive, and you too. And well, I must say I'm not a person of many boundaries, because I'm always searching for the space after the beyond the boundaries. So I'm always looking for opportunities. I'm not very a person of boundaries, but I think the basic is treat each other with humanity and respect. Not only in a relationship, but also in communications with others. That's what I think it's important. And give each other space to live. When you have a relationship, You also are a personality yourself, I think. You have your own thoughts and your hobbies and things you like, and it's important that you keep that from for yourself and the other person also, that you can live together, but also it's important you have your own things. And when you want to talk to each other, give each other space. Sometimes when someone is tired or have had a long day at work, you have to know when you want to discuss something. Maybe it's better to do it tomorrow instead of after a long day hard work and someone is tired and has a lot of things on his mind, and you come, well, now I want to talk about something. Maybe it's better to do it the next day. So I think it's always empathy, EQ, emotion intelligence, and that means that you respect and recognize the feeling of someone else. And if someone had a busy day and you really want to talk about something, I think, well, keep it till the next day. It's all right. And when you have the flexibility towards each other and give each other space, I think it's more long lasting than when you focus on what you think it's important, and that you push the things that you want first. So if you give each other space and flexible towards each other, then you can live with each other. I think it's a back and forth and give and take, and that has to be in balance. And
Yeah.
sometimes you can discuss the things you want, and sometimes the other can. And well, it's a sort of yin and yang. It's back and forth, and give each other space to live in. You're not only have live in a relationship, but you also are a person yourself.
Sure.
And both persons are important, I think. And you
Yeah.
have your own mind and your hobbies and your things, and that's important too, I think.
Yes.
and
Thank you.
and then the things you do together is more you have more fun if you are having your own space also, I think. So when the other person have hobbies making music, for example, and you like to skate or bicycle, when you can do it both. And then if you have the space to can do the things you want, it's more fun to live together, I think. You don't
Okay.
have to do all the things together always the whole day. People need space of their own, and that's important. You are a person too, a personality, and
Yeah. You think was
ownership of your own life. Ownership of your own life. You owe it to yourself to get the maximum out of your life too. That's important too.
all right. Thank you. Thank you so much. I totally agree with you. It's important to have. Okay. Anyone wants to say something about that?
Yeah, I think that Luz explains it the way I understand it. And everyone says it well in the comments. She has answered everything, literally. You know, I think it is that thing that Luz. I think the point you made that I definitely agree with is it's for you to find your happiness. Yes, what may be bothering you may be a problem right now. You deal with it, work it out. And then Michelle says exactly, if you are happy, you bring happiness to the marriage. That's what I want. I bring happiness. So I'm not going to share all my pains with you because I don't need to. I'll sort myself out. and then I might share the problem, the issue in hindsight when it's sorted. I said, but I don't want your baggage. I don't, Lewis also mentioned emotional intelligence. I think that's another part of the equation where I want someone who brings joy, who doesn't bring stresses and pain all the time. Yes, you might, you might have a thought, you might have a problem, you might have an issue. If it's relevant, bring it up. Then let's deal with it. So, but most of the time, I fix my issue before I come anywhere near anyone. That's in business and in life. That's all I'm going to say, Tolu. Right. If you want to see us on stage, Tolu, take off Michelle's comment.
Yeah.
Michelle's
Okay.
comment there. So if you can, so just click on another comment, random comment, and then click that twice. Then the comment will go away. So click again, and then Marcelo's comment will go away. Now you can see all the names beautifully. I see Cyrus is here, and Selena is here as well.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, you do mediums, so I know you're an expert. Thank you. Okay, great. Kifa, how's the sound now?
Yeah, you sound great.
And he's right. I had 2 tabs open because I was on LinkedIn, then I went to on stage, so I had 2 things playing at the same time. But it's good now. Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome. All right.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
we're talking about physical boundaries now, and Lois just shared some very important points about the nature of the relationship, the fact that we are individuals with our individual hobbies, interests, etc., and that if you have issues, that it's important to understand them and deal with them rather than just keep thinking that it's about creating conflict and dealing with your issues externally, when you can take some responsibility and deal with them as an individual. So what is your take on that? Because now we've left the matter of emotional boundaries and we're talking a bit of physical boundaries. Say you walked in now, Kifa, and your wife says to you, just give me space. I really don't need to see you right now. I don't need to see anyone right now. I just need to clear my head. How's that for you? How do you respond to that?
Good question. Thank you for the question, Tolu. Yeah, I tell the truth, I don't think it's ever happened. I think, if I'm honest, for men, the only boundaries that we'll probably have is bedtime. Oh, go to sleep.
Okay.
I'm tired. Or I had a busy day. But where talking is concerned, it's a simple space, and it really depends on what we've got to talk about. If it's serious, TV is off, children's are quiet, we're in a room together, we get it out on the floor, talk about it, and it's done and dusted. But yes, it depends what it's. The boundary will the only time boundary really comes up, it's maybe sleep time, that sort of time. But in a house, you have different rooms, and if there's an issue with boundaries, you might want to watch Coronation Street or some other program. I might want to watch a football. And the good thing nowadays, you got social media. You got your phone, your internet, whatever. So if you need space, it's easy. You do something else. Tell the truth, if somebody wants to talk, it might be serious. So it's not a good idea just to say, not now, don't talk to me. You need to at least give to see what the situation is, and depends on the seriousness of it, then you talk about it. If not, let's do this tomorrow or later. The football's on now. I'm hungry. I need a shower, etc. Thank you.
Thank you. Well said. So we're in agreement, emotional intelligence, empathy, that we think not just of ourselves, because you may not be in the mood to listen to anybody right now, but because you have a heart, because you care about this other person, you may just make a concession and say, okay, no, you know what? That's what it should be, that your spouse has more access than anybody else. If it was some other person on the street, no, I don't want to see anybody until 7 p.m. and that's it. But not for your spouse. It should be different. Okay. The other thing is, I like what Kifa mentioned about sleep and that boundary. We've found that in counseling, I've found that a lot of couples have problems when they don't share the same bedroom. Couples where they have different bedrooms usually allow room for other things to thrive. If you sleep apart, you don't sleep in the same room. And that's your typical routine. I know there are couples who, when there's tension, one person moves to another room. Even that is not, it's not the best for the relationship. It may be best for you for clearing your head or for whatever, but usually long term, if you check the statistics of couples that do that, it's not usually very good. It doesn't bode well for the relationship, because it means that when things are tough, you look for an out. That's what the mindset is behind that. And it means that when things get tough enough, you will leave, you will get out. Because, yeah, so that's the mindset. So the thing is, understand that we're in this and we're committed to it. And so if things are tough, we will tough it out together. We'll figure it out together. That's ideal. But having said that, I think so. I just like that he brought that up. I think we should move on quickly if there's no pressing comment.
No. Here's one thing. There are a couple of things I will say on that one, Tolu.
Okay.
I think there's as we age, that might have to change. We might need a few more options. I think this is not spoken about too often, I'm saying, but that's a reality, right? Let's say your wife is in menopause. She doesn't want anyone near her at night. I'm certainly not, right? I'm saying we have to understand that's a reality that we have to live with. So most men naturally get pushed out of the bedroom, and that is fine. I'm all right with that. I'm cool. I'm game. I like my own space, thanks. I can play my game for longer all night. Yay. I'm saying that's one, right? This is now the second one, really. I think health reasons is another one. People who have health issues, and whether it's one partner or the other, sometimes someone else in your bed space,
of course,
causes you more pain. Right? So I'm just stating the obvious, really. So
of course, that's obvious. I mean, we're talking of, for everything that we're saying, really, you can't say it's a rule that everybody must follow. That's not what we're saying. But we're talking of, for the most part, and in most cases, if you're talking of someone who's ill, somebody can be quarantined. We can't say, no, you're married, so there's COVID here, but you're married, so you guys have to stick together.
We must die together. We must.
We must die together. No, that's not. Okay, so, yeah, but thank you.
I think that some people, I think Kiefer, I'm getting the feeling Kiefer's like me. I buy big houses to have my own rooms. My grandparents had their own rooms. My grandmom and granddad had. So I've always lived in I got my rooms, you got your rooms, and literally you got your sitting room. Everyone in my house has a sitting room. My kids have their own sitting rooms because that's the life that we designed. Of course, we'll still come together in my wife's room sometime. But I'm saying, but essentially, I like my space.
And
go on, Kiefer, please.
I'm sorry. We sleep together. We have our house is not that big, so we do share a room. But as Tulu was saying about boundaries, sometimes that's where boundaries happen in the bedroom, because she will say go to sleep, or I'm tired, or I got to get up early in the morning. They'll come near. Those are boundaries. Even if the man wants to talk or just want to hug, the boundaries are there. And sometimes those are not good, because yes, everybody needs space. That's true. But there are times when you just need a little bit of, comfort. It's been a hard day. And then when the boundaries come up, then I see you might as well go sleep next door or downstairs. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so we are all affected by our boundaries, especially when communication is not clear. If someone is dealing with something that makes the presence of their spouse, so menopause, like you mentioned, that makes the presence of their spouse somehow add to their irritation, they need to find a way to gracefully communicate that, so that it's clear to the spouse that it's not the spouse that's the problem. I'm dealing with something right now, and I need you to help me in this way. Otherwise, what you do is you take out your frustration on the other person. They just fall victim to what they don't understand, and you just hurt the relationship. So those are some of the things. Same thing with a man wanting to make advances in the night, or wanting a hug, wanting comfort. And many women know that comfort can extend and advance to comforter and more comfortable and jeez.
You're digging that hole. You're digging that hole, Tolu. Leave it there.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm really just saying that may be the reason why she's like, if it was just a hug.
Amen, Tolu. Amen.
Well, we know how this can be, and right now, I'm not ready. So
I wonder what event you invited me in.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that. Lois?
Yes, Annie, what event is this?
What event is this?
I'm laughing always. It's so joyful.
It's not me. Blame Tolu. She went there, so
this is really LinkedIn Live. This is really LinkedIn Live.
It is live. Well, but it's okay. I don't know if
can I say something?
Yeah.
Of course, Selena, of course.
So, I mean, when you sleep in two different rooms, what happens? It's like when somebody is in his room, and then what do you want? When you want your conjugal rights, what happens?
You do a summons, or you write an application letter, and so that's the point, right? That here's the thing. It's just like moving into a new house. When you move into, especially if it's a big house and you're coming from a small house, I don't know about you, but usually it feels like, oh my God, how are we ever going to fill this space? Like there's just so much space. We don't have enough stuff. But give it a few months, you're going to fill it up, because we just fill up our space. Okay, it's the same thing. Somebody moves out of their bedroom where they had everything squeezed in, and usually the excuse is, we have more stuff now. I'll have my own space and you have your own space, so we have less conflict and we have more that and more that. But in actual fact, you are drawing yourselves apart, and each person is going to build an independent way of doing things in their own space, and you're not really building that togetherness that you're trying to achieve. So that's where I'm coming from when I say that the physical boundary thing, that we need to be clear on what we're doing and why, and if we must, then for how long, and quickly get back together. Otherwise, you'll just find that each person, and what happens, we already have social media as a major distraction to our relationships. So now you're in your own room by yourself every day with your phone, with any old person and any old app and any old thing giving you access. What are we talking about? Are we trying to build this marriage, or are we trying to wreck it? So these are the things that's the physical bound. It's important to understand that these things are not simplistic. They can easily become something much more serious. Yeah.
Cyrus, are you there?
Is Cyrus here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many comments.
You're muted, Cyrus. We can't hear you though.
Where's Cyrus?
Bonavinotti, that's Cyrus.
Oh, really?
That's his book. So welcome, Lisa. I see you. Marcelo says some great comments. Michelle says to answer you, Lewis.
Can you hear me, guys?
Yeah, there you go. We can,
hi, how's it going? It's lovely to see you guys. I've not seen you guys in a while. I've missed you, so I decided to join the show.
Thank you.
The show is beautiful as ever. It's a pleasure to be amongst you amazing men and women on this stage. So the discussion is really interesting. I've been learning. I joined I joined the show from the moment Eny said, I want to be left alone. And when my wife sometimes, like when my wife asks me a question, I want to be left to my own devices and stuff like that. So I just wanted to say, Eny, sometimes your wife asks for your feedback, and imagine if your burning question was what she thinks or what she's got planned, etc., etc., and she didn't tell you, you would feel the same level of frustration that she probably feels when you refuse to communicate. Well, obviously at that moment, maybe you don't find it, maybe you don't find it suitable, but let's not forget, when it comes to marriage, or in any form of relationship, unexpressed expectations is premeditated resentment. So when you refuse to communicate, I can't defend you and say, oh, that resentment that you've caused was accidental. No. It gets formed little by little, right? And I've come to realize that when it comes to relationship, I think there's some sort of pseudo formula for this. For when I say for this, I mean for calculating the strength of your relationship with your girlfriend, with your friend, with your housemate, with your boss, with your employee. There's a formula for checking the stability and strength of it. This is how it works. From the moment that relationship gets strained, how long does it take for things to normalize again, to go back to baseline? That's my formula for it. For some people, it takes weeks. That's very, very dangerous. For some people, it takes days. That's also dangerous. For some people, it takes hours. That's ideal. If the relationship gets strained in some shape or form, let's say you have an argument with your partner. It happens every once in a while, right? The TV is too loud. I'm trying to study. I don't know. I'm trying to record something. I need the house to be quiet. I don't know. Whatever the need may be, the other person is not satisfying that need, and then that causes resentment, right? So, and I agree with this lady who mentioned we're not supposed to be always in in each other's pockets. We need our own space as well. When the space isn't provided, that causes clash. When space is, when the other person requires too much space from you, maybe something else is happening, or your partner might be a secret astronaut. I don't know if they're asking for too much space. So you need to find out why they're asking for that much space. Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, thank you so much, Cyrus.
Okay. Let me say this, Cyrus. I think years ago that we've been married and been together for 33 years, 34 years ago now. I'm saying, so maybe in the early days I can see what you're saying, Tolu and Cyrus. But now I think the aim must be to create a relationship, an environment, where you can talk all the time. Everyone said this in the comments. Like I said earlier, it's about context, right? Never would my wife say to me, "Eny, we need to talk." I'll look at her funny. I'm like, "What the hell? Just say it. Just say what you're gonna say. I'm gonna deal with it there and then with you, right?" I don't get the. I never. We don't do the. We need to talk conversation anymore because we just talk about everything, anything, all day, anytime, right? If I've got any, I need to talk, then I'll look at her really funny and think, "What's wrong with you?" Right? That's good. We just talk. I'm sure that's the way you get when you have a real relationship and real open communication. That's where I think we need to get to Tolu. That's my personal experience. I wonder what you're taking.
Yeah, I guess that definitely relationships grow, they mature, they get to a place where I think there's a comfortable level you get to where you understand each other much more. Because in the years when you're still trying to figure one another out, it's difficult to read what things mean. You know, it's like if somebody has been sharing, if we've been sharing a room and now you've moved out, say every time we have a misunderstanding, you move out. And then when we make up, you come back. But then we now had this misunderstanding, and even though we've made up, you've stayed in this other room. What does that mean? You know, it's like, where are we? Is this relationship over? What's happening here? And all that. But I guess that over time, as people get older, they would probably figure out what works for them. But I do know that what I'm asking or what I'm saying here is what is ideal, what is best, because those distance things, maybe Eny has figured out something, some special formula that works for him and his family. But usually those distance, when you keep your distance from each other, it's just like long distance relationships. Somebody's living in one town, another is living in another town, and they're building their lives apart, and they're visiting each other twice a year. They may be married, they may be wearing their rings, but what's the quality of that relationship? Maybe they're doing video calls every day and trying to stay in touch, and maybe the communication is working. But you do that for 10 years, for 20 years. I don't know. It's possible that they found some way to make it work, but I'm just saying that that's not something you'll advocate for most people. Most people will not thrive in those circumstances. Most marriages will not. A few people they may have some reasons, some ways in which to make that work. Most people will not. Because even in the same space, living together under the same roof, many marriages are still under threat because of matters of communication, like Cyrus mentioned, and because of, just piled up resentment, bitterness, tension, unforgiveness, etc. So I wouldn't advocate, especially not to younger couples, maybe people who have done, 3 decades plus and have figured out how to.
three decades, Tolu. I think you would get 18 for murder.
What?
You would get 18 to 20 years for murder.
Yeah.
How did they live 30 something years together? I'm joking. I was gonna say, Tolu, what do you think of this idea? At any given moment, a husband and wife relationship or a boyfriend and girlfriend's relationship is either getting better or getting worse. There's no constants in the relationship. So the only constant in a relationship is change, right? So they're either getting better or getting worse. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. And I like it because there was something you said earlier, or someone mentioned earlier, about, there was a way you said it, about, I forget, I've lost my train of thought, but it was something about growing
apart,
right?
Yeah, people grow apart.
The default, the thing about the relationship, there was a way it sparked off in my head, it's gone. But there's the default of the relationship is that if you're not building it, if you just don't do anything, you will just grow apart. If you just don't apply yourselves, because the marriage relationship is not like being siblings. Even siblings, if you're born by the same parents, and then there's nothing that you all do together to stay together, to keep in touch, to communicate. Everybody just has their own lives independently. One person is living with one grandparent, the other person is living in some other town, and they don't connect. Just because you were born to the same parents doesn't mean you're going to be close. Like we've said here before, we are close. We're not close. We're not close. No, we talk. We don't talk because we're close. We're close because we talk. Yeah, that's it.
Yes. Yeah. And again, I can agree with you. But I think a lot of this comes down to intention. What Cyrus is saying, I think I agree with you, Cyrus. And we should always be growing, getting closer, rather than anything else, Cyrus. I think that's the way we live in my house, anyway. Good. We get better every day. We're more intentional. But again, I think maybe I'll go with Michael Ogaga's point. We'll talk about compromise and commitment in a relationship, but setting healthy boundaries could be a difference, right? And I think commitment is the word, where we are doing what we need to do to get through today, knowing that we're going to be together anyway. We're going to be together for a long time, forever, so to speak, right? So what I do today can't be aimed at destroying our relationship. Even saying, I've got siblings. Sometimes we talk a lot every day. Some other times there's gaps for whatever reason. Even then, that's not going to stop us doing. Not visiting each other, for example. I'm saying this is people have to understand that life is busy, right? Life is busy for all of us. But I think it's what's in your heart, what your intentions are that really count. If I don't see you, doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about you. And when we do meet, it's back to square one. It's back to our normal life, right? Because we're who we are.
Could I just say Tolu, that it's important that as we grow as a couple, that we support each other's dream, because sometimes the boundaries happen when I've got my own project going on in London, you've got your own project going on in Manchester, and we don't see eye to eye. When I talk about my dream, you're not interested, etc., etc. So I think it's important that as you grow old together, you support each other. You always won't be in the same room, but show some interest in what your partner's doing. And because sometimes resentment sometimes happen because of that. You got friends who are helping, who are encouraging, who are supporting, and sometimes your partner don't want nothing to do with it, and sometimes you grow apart that way too. So it's important that as you grow older together, that you support each other. As the Bible says, you become one. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I agree completely. And the matter Eny mentioned, I don't completely agree, because your intentions are great. It's good to have good intentions, but nobody can read your intentions. God can, you can, but those are the only two people. Everybody else has to act by what you do. So if your intentions are good and your actions don't communicate those intentions, then you may still have a problem. So that's where so it's important that, like he mentioned, he started saying that. So I just wanted to pick that part, because we have to be deliberate about our relationships. Marriages are under so much threat already, and for many reasons, that if we are not deliberate about the relationships, about the things we do, the reasons why we do them, and how we fuel the relationship, you'll just find that you just run out. Because what happens? Life gets busy, like you mentioned. Before you know what's happening, your routines, your jobs, your career, the children, the demands, the different roles you have to play, the chores. There's so much going on, and you only have 24 hours every day. If you don't prioritize the relationship and schedule it somewhere on that your to-do list, on your program, it's just not going to happen. And 1 week becomes 1 month, becomes 1 year, and you can be in the same house and just realize that you don't know one another. And usually what happens is when the children have gone, that's where it hits, because the children were the project. Let's do this for the children. Have you picked the kids? Have you dropped the kids? Have you done this for the kids? Here, sign this document for the kids. Do that for the child. Do this for my daughter, my son, meet your daddy, meet your mommy, then all those people go, and it's like, who is this and why am I here with this person? So we have to be deliberate about the relationship. It looks like we're not even going to move beyond this. I'm seeing that there's actually a lot to unpack in this boundary matter. So maybe it's better we just pace ourselves and deal with the man and wife, and then we can come back and deal with
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
You know, it might be 2 episodes. Sometimes some conversations are 2, like more than 1 episode. Right? Yeah, or 3 indeed.
And it helps to keep it simple. Sometimes we overthinking too much and sometimes the other one just want to relax or just want to have space to do hobbies or something like that, and sometimes we overthinking the things too much, that something is going on, or but sometimes nothing is going on, but the other one just want to have rest or space to do what they want to do. So it's not always the case that something is going wrong or going on. It's good to keep it simple. Simplicity leads to clarity, and be clear in what you think and what you want, and say what you have to say. I agree with Eny. Don't always talk. We have to talk. Say what you want to say, and not always there's something wrong. Sometimes it's just that the other ones had a busy day or want to have space. So that's fine too. Give each other room and space, and you have to deal and go along with each other. And you are a person too, so keep it simple. Sometimes that's solution. Not always think about something, oh, there's something wrong, or the other one won't talk and something's going on. Not always that's the case. It's keep it simple. Sometimes nothing is going wrong, but it's just the other one has a busy day or some things on their mind, and that's okay too. If you respect each other and give each other space, it's all right. And discuss it the next day if you want to talk. If it's not that important, it can wait, and it's all right. And do fun things together. That's important too, I think. Not always serious subjects and topics. Have fun together. Drink some coffee somewhere, or go a day cycling or whatever. Do nice things. Life is not always meant to be serious. It's to have fun too. Laugh and have fun together. That's important too.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, which takes us into another one. So I think let's quickly go into this one. So privacy boundaries. What happens if what's fun for one person is not fun for the other? Are we allowed to have fun separately? No, maybe I shouldn't put it like that. Of course we are. But the question really is, how much do you permit your spouse to just be okay, to just be, and to just have fun? I think that is one major index of the health of the relationship. How comfortable are you when your spouse is having a good time and you're not part of it? I'll give you an example. So football, I'm sure you know that's the example. Because there are a few women who really are crazy about football, and I really do respect them and admire them, and maybe in another life I may even want to be like them. But I do understand football to a large extent now, thanks to my husband and my father and my brother, and just I think all the men in my life have influenced me that way. But it's not something I'm excited about. Like, if I'm excited, it's probably because maybe it's my country that's playing against some other country. It's the hype of the experience. But I'm not going to just sit every Saturday waiting to see what's. That's not going to happen, you know. But what that did at first was my husband is the other way. He's crazy about football. He loves football. And there are many men who do. And I used to struggle with it because I quickly realized that he planned his life around his matches. And I didn't know, you know. I'll just say, hey, we were planning to visit these people. Can we visit them on Saturday at 4 o'clock? And he's like, no, I think we should do 6. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. And then I move things around, you know, so that we'll do 6. And then I realized at 4 that there's a match. I'm like, oh. So we moved everything around. I bent over backwards. Everything was because of this thing, you know. Like, what? You know, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, no, I mean, 6 is still fine, right? So we'll be fine. We'll get everything done. It used to get on my nerves because, like, what, this thing is not so important that we'll put it on the schedule. Like, it should be something that happens. I enjoy comedy. I don't plan my life around comedy. I'm not going to say, okay, let's move this event, family event, from 4 to 6 because I have a comedy to watch. No, I'll just record it or something and watch it later. So, but now I've come to understand it as something that makes him happy, and I'm happy that there's something that makes him happy in football. Okay, so just to say, yeah. So how do you perceive your spouse having fun or enjoying something that you don't understand or that you can't relate to? Maybe it's shopping for your wife, or maybe it's some kind of game, hanging out with the guys or something. How does that make you feel? Okay, so
I think, could I say to that? Thank you. I think it's important that we can trust each other enough to have some privacy without the other person involved. One of the bad habits that I realize happening in relationship is a phone. Somebody called you and you're having a conversation for 20 minutes and your partner can't help. Well, who's that? What did he want? You know, but we are allowed to have privacy where trust is concerned. Just like if my wife wants to go out for a meal and I just didn't feel like going, she'll probably go with somebody else or go. It's not a problem. You know, I give her space if she wants to watch TV in a sense, and I'm on a meeting at the same time. I expect us to respect each other's space. I'm in a meeting, it's important. I'm talking to, you know, I can't have you in the background laughing and screaming and yeah. So if we respect each other and trust each other, yes, privacy shouldn't be an issue. And as I say, number one is a phone, because if you're getting phone 10 o'clock at night, you're giggling and you're having fun, in all your partners, you know, cutting up who's that, what does it want, why is it calling, etc. But I think we should trust each other enough that we can make a phone call without you thinking something's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Please, still on this point of the phone, I love that you brought it up. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be too direct, but this is for the men. Does your wife have access to your phone now that we have smartphones? And then for the women, does your husband have access to your phone? Like, do they have the password? Can they log in? Are you okay when they pick up your phone? Does your heart stop? What happens? Yeah, so this is the boundary thing now, right?
I think, you know, and the key for it again hits the point for me. This is a game of trust. Everything that we're talking about, the boundaries thing, is a game of trust. I think when you build that trust, the rules almost live themselves, because you live with care for each other. We live what's good for each other. As Lou said, living a life of I don't know what you're up to. Can I really trust you? Are you doing something nefarious? Are you trying to harm our relationship? All those thoughts. I don't know, but even if you're having those thoughts, there's something's gone wrong. That's what I would say. Because ultimately, it has to be a relationship has to be based on mutual trust, mutual respect, and knowing. And I think a lot of this comes down to what's been before, right? Because those who have cheated before, they'll naturally cause the other person to be suspicious, rightly so. Those who have acted not in good faith before would actually cause the other person to be suspicious. Those who go out to go and do things that don't help our relationship, again, of course, the other person will be concerned. But essentially, I think we have to trust each other. Trust each other enough to have our own lives and still come together in a relationship. I don't do what my wife does. I never have felt the need to. She does her thing, I do my thing, and then the twain meets when we every day. I don't wonder where she's gone. Sometimes I celebrate. Who said that? Where's your mother gone? She's gone out. Yay! Yeah, that's all celebration. But I know she's gonna come back. Of course she's gonna come back, and nothing's gonna change, right? I think if you're bad-minded, then you need the rules. And that's truly my belief. I mean, if you truly have bad intentions and you do bad things, and the other person has a reason to be suspicious of what you're up to, then you have to create rules. Otherwise, I think you can find your way to in a relationship that is human, that's caring, that's normal, which doesn't need to be so regimented. I think that life has to be natural, as Lou says. Keep it simple. Just live as the best friends that you are. Live as the lovers that you are. Live as the partners that you are. Because that's the life we have, right?
Yeah, could I also say, and it's also good to have friends.
Yeah.
Somebody you can talk to who understand what you're doing, what you're going through. Of course, your wife is your best friend, but it's also good to have. I can call Eny and says, Eny, gosh, catch up, man. Let's go for a drink. Let's talk. And important one thing. Some people don't realize, even though you're married, it's also important to have good friends.
Yes, I agree.
Because sometimes it's that friend who's going to understand that issue you're going through.
Yeah.
So it's important to have friends. Yeah.
No, I think that's on both sides, and it's most important for my wife.
Yes, definitely.
Friends too. And would that mean second guessing what are they up to? What are they doing? I don't. That's their business, right? Again, I say it comes back to when we do get together. Do things feel strange? Do things feel weird? Does our communication, our interaction feel forced? I think over time you tend to build that trust, which just makes things natural. You do you, I do me, but not together. But we're together in this forever, really, and that's that. End of story. And everything else just flows from that, I think.
Eny, it's lovely to hear you say this and to hear Kifa's take, but believe me, we've had in counseling couples, people, these things that we're bringing up, I'm bringing them up because they are sore issues that cause a lot of tension. A lot of couples are going through a lot of pain around matters like this. Because somebody has this idea, and for some people, it's not that there's anything going on. It's just that maybe their circle of friends, you've mentioned friendship, their circle of friends are such that nobody gets access to your phone. What? How can you show your phone? And so they have a password and they lock everything because that's what men do. We lock our phones. Or that's what women do. You can't let anybody know because they would try to do this. And ideologies that may not even have any bearing on the actual relationship. But they just start behaving a certain way that leads to a certain response. And you're just in the middle of a mess that you had no business being in because of a mindset, because of some kind of programming or training from where they're coming from. So there's that. There's also the matter of trust and whether it's something that should be given before it is earned, or it's something that should be earned before it is given. Because you have a couple that is just starting, and it's like, because of a background that one person is coming from, they know that their father was this, or they know that their mother was that. They already have a baseline lack of trust. And so it's like, why are you doing that? It must be that you're doing this. And, you know, both ways. So I'm not saying that the person who is suspicious is right, but because there is a problem from one or both backgrounds, there are trust issues that make it important to start defining these boundaries and to say, okay, why are you locking your phone? Why is it not okay for your spouse to look at your phone? Why do you see it as being invaded when your spouse looks at your phone? Why do you feel the need to keep looking at your spouse's phone? What are you looking for? You know, so these are, people are coming from somewhere and they're dealing with these issues. And it's causing so much tension. And with the wrong ideologies and with the wrong mindset, you find that they go from bad to worse. So what we do most times in counseling is just helping them to break down why, where are they coming from? Where's this mindset coming from? And then how can we get to a place where we are safe? Because we all need to feel safe. We all need to know that we are okay, that we shouldn't have to, with everything else that we have to deal with, be worrying about, oh my God, what is this person up to? What if they do this? What if they do? Know that there's something wrong with that relationship. But there is something wrong with many relationships. And so I don't want us to just gloss over it and, you know, make like it's not that we're glossing over it. I'm just saying that for some people, it's a big thorny issue. This privacy matter is a big thorny issue. So that's why I brought it up. But thank you so much for your insights.
And the time is changing. 30 years ago, I think a lot of people were married, but the next generations are different. Sometimes they just want to live together, not marry, but live together. And a lot of people are alone and having sometimes a relationship. So the time is changing. We live in 2025, and a lot of young people are glad to have conversations with each other and go out with each other, but a lot of people don't want to be married again. And I think time is changing. Maybe 20 years ago a lot of people were married, but maybe in 10 years we see in the Netherlands that a lot of people aren't married anymore because they go out together, and sometimes they have relationships, but not always and all the time. And I think we have to accept that people are changing and the time is changing. It's different now than 10 years ago, and in 10 years from now it will be different because people change. Young people want to be free, and they want to have their own life and not giving up too much, I think. So we have to see it in perspective of time, I think. And that's the time when where we are going, that a lot of people want to have their own life too, and not everything doing together in a marriage. And I think you are a person too, and you see it a lot with young people now. They want to stay in their own life and sometimes have a relationship or going for the weekend to someone, but not very young people are getting marriage anymore, and that's okay too, I think. So it's not always important for people to have a marriage. You can live together as persons and have your own interest, and have a good time together. That's okay too, I think.
Interesting. Have we done?
Interesting perspective.
Yeah, have
Yeah.
we done the why do people get married conversation yet, Tolu?
Sorry.
Have we done the why do people get why do people get married? Why do we need marriage?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think that.
that's a good question. That's a good question.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. It is a good question. I think that, in fact, what we do when we are counseling couples, we ask them, why did you get married? What was the point? What were you hoping to achieve? It's an important question to ask. It's important to also understand why marriage even began. Where did it start from? Excuse me. Where did it start from? What was the point of it? Is it now outdated? Because if we don't get back to where it started and understand what the point was, then we may just be developing our own, reinventing the wheel and not even understanding the basis for the beginning. So I think, yeah, we should probably deal with how it all, where did it start from? What's the origin of marriage? Why is
I
it?
don't know
Yeah.
if everyone can answer that question for themselves. I think if you ask that question to a lot of married couples, I wonder how many couples can give a good answer, because sometimes it goes how it goes, and uh, well, I don't know if a lot of people can't answer that question. I wonder.
Yeah, the thing is,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, as the lady says, is it Tulu?
Yes.
No, what the lady says, wonder how many could answer that question. But marriage is a divine principle. God created man and woman, and He also created the union between a man and a woman. It's divine. The Bible says, "He that find a wife finds a good thing." The wife should be a helpmate to her husband. You raise children together. See, I know we live in a society diverse that people choose not to marry, but then you have children, you set up home, and there's all kind of things happening because you're not union as one. It causes a lot of issue down the line. One of the big thing now, maybe this is not the place to say it, but one of the thing is now, young people, a lot of young people are going out and one night stands, and especially for young black men, they are being put in prison for assault, harassment, for rape, because what they thought was a fling turned out that young girls turn around and says, well, he raped me. I've known several people who are in prison right now because of one night stands on having a fling. So marriage is a secure ground, and it's a divine principle. Not everybody's going to get married for sure, but it's a safe way, especially in the society we live today, even though this generation don't think it's that important. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I do understand where you're okay. Selena wants to say something. Okay, so go ahead, Selena, and then we'll wrap it. You're muted.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
Understand, marriage used to be very divine. I've seen some people, getting married, living together, and 6 months before, when they see somebody is not well, they get married. Just when they had lived all their lives without being married, then they want to be married because somebody is going to die. So it's like, is it losing its essence? Or what's happening? Or these people, they knew that they haven't done the right thing, not getting married. And now they come to to do it because they want the other person not to lose out, not the government to take like in the UK, if you're not married, if you don't have kids, what happens to your money or
That's it.
your assets? So it's like
Lose it.
they are just, like getting married because they want the other person they had, like spent their time with to get the assets. So it's like people, they don't marry for love. They marry, yes, they marry for love, but they also, what's in it for me? I mean, that's, I'm answering the question. She says everybody should answer.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. The thing is, I love the way the conversation has gone, because these are very important questions. You see, what's happening with society is very worrisome. Sorry, am I pronouncing it right? Lois? Lois? How do you pronounce it, Eny? Because it's like you got it right and I didn't get it.
Luz can tell you herself, but Luz, yeah, you ignore the E. I'm learning to. I'm learning to these days.
Okay, Luz, please tell us. Uh-oh.
Luz, are you there?
Luz.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
hopefully she'll come back.
But what she was saying and what Kifa has mentioned, what Selena has mentioned, it's all pointing to one question. Where did it all begin? Because we can't use the way people are behaving now and the fact that they are changing it to decide that, okay, that means that that's the way it's supposed to be. If, for example, there was a point when we got to a time in our lives where we were shocked that we started having to wear masks and we started having to distance ourselves and we started having to live a certain way. If we decide that, oh, well, all over the world, this is what is happening, therefore, this is how life is supposed to be, and then we don't ever try to fix it, is that how we move forward? So just because people are doing things a certain way does not necessarily mean that that is the best way for them, or that that is something that we are all supposed to just align with and say, okay, society is moving in this direction. It looks like that's the way it's supposed to be. It's better that we look back and understand. And the reason why it's better to do that is, so if you look through history, you find that there are times when things change because people are not aware of where their own people are coming from. So they make certain decisions completely unaware of what has transpired before. And they end up leading their people to the very things that the people who preceded them were trying to solve, the very problems, and they just go around full circle because they didn't understand. So it's this lack of understanding that I think is propagating itself again. And we need to ask ourselves, where did this thing begin? What was the purpose? And these new things that we're developing, what are we achieving with them? And at the end of the day, looking at it long term, where does this take us? Where does this take us? And I think those are very important questions. I like that they're coming up, and we're going to have to be discussing them further in this room. So thank you so much for coming on board and for chiming in on this conversation. Very interesting. But yes, I want us all to go and think about it and maybe even do some research. Where did marriage begin? Where did it start? What is it really about? And then we'll talk about it when we come back.
I was hoping that you're going to teach us. And I can do a course, really. I'm not one to agree with Luz that marriage is going out of fashion. I don't agree at all, because, as Selena said, there's many reasons why people get married, and the financial one, the kids one, the companionship one. I'm saying these are reasons to get married, and they don't go away. Our kids may think they want freedom, like you said to them. They're going to go around the circles and then realize it's the reason why marriage exists. And then
security.
Yeah, let's say that, and then they'll come back to square one and get married. My son was 15. He wants to get married.
Mm-hmm.
All the joys of marriage. He wants to get married to the right person. Mm-hmm. I think today the issue seems to be that people don't find the right person to have the commitment with. Which is why you and I talk these conversations, Tolu. Because people don't talk about the issues that really affect marriage, the issues that help us live long term together. Forever would be nice, I would say, but literally, there's things that make relationships last years. There's a reason why Keith has been married for that's not longer than I've been alive. I'm saying,
really,
it's good.
Really?
What we do, yeah, it really has been. That's the reason why we do what we do. But I think it's the commitment to we have to find a way to build the relationship is a point, right? And the boundaries is part of that. Well, I think it's more down to care. It's more down to genuinely being interested in supporting yourself, your family, your kids, and the greater family. There's always a family behind the two families behind all of this, by the way. There's in-laws
and grandchildren too, and grandchildren to come.
There's all of those that were all part of our story when we do get married. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I think we just have to learn to find ourselves and find our partners in a way that works for all of us. Yay.
Yay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Eny. Thank you, Lois. Thank you, Selena. Great questions, great insights. Hey, Cyrus, I was going to pronounce your book. Cyrus, thank you. Thank you, Kifa. And is there anybody backstage that I haven't mentioned? No, I don't think so. All right. Thank you so much.
You, everyone. That's it. Everyone just joined us. Michael.
Michael joined. Yeah.
Michael, Gago. I'm blown away by your comments. But look, please do join us on stage next time. We'd love to hear from you. Definitely would. So all of you joined us. Thank you so much. Everyone, Sele. Again, we'd love to hear from you next time. Of course, Michelle, you're a star. Of course, Michael was on stage earlier, but his internet didn't hold up, so that's why he can come back up. But thank you, everyone. And my friends are on stage. I can't thank you enough. I mean that sincerely.
It's always a pleasure.
There's a joy in sending.
Always.
Yeah, and you always show up. That's it gives me more joy than you ever realize. I mean that sincerely. Thank you so much. But Christina, really, I see that you're here as well. I can't see you, but see. So Michelle says you're here, so you are here. Michael says you're here too, so you're definitely here, right? Tolu, here's one thing I'm thinking of, which we might want to think about.
Sorry,
quick. So there's one thing that I thought of the other day.
Okay.
I think we need to, we could bring some married couples onto our show and just talk to them, so people really get an idea of what it looks like, what it sounds like, what it feels like to be married. Because a lot of people think we're just talking and it's some abstract term, but no, but people are married and they live a life of joy that's we can't explain to them. Only they can explain. I'm sure it's not easy to get couples onto any show. My wife won't appear on the show. She won't appear online with me anyway. So, but I'm saying, I know one couple that would. I was talking to Laverne and her husband the other day, Keith. So they're quite happily, talk about their marriage. So think about it, maybe. Think about it, maybe.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan.
Thank you too, Tolu. Thank you for always bringing this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Eny. Thank you for your support. Thank you, everybody. And wow, thank you so much everyone that joined on LinkedIn, everyone that joined us here on StreamYard. Thank you, everybody. Honestly, really appreciate you. And on YouTube as well. Amazing. Thank you. Sorry, yeah, I see YouTube.
If you're on our YouTube, please, my friends, like today's video.
Yeah.
Whether it's my YouTube or Tolu's YouTube, like the video for today, comment, and then subscribe to our channels. That's what makes it worthwhile. And you just been on YouTube, it helps us. But essentially, we would love you to go take the next step and really help our numbers by engaging and subscribing.
Yeah.
Eny, what's your YouTube channel? What's your YouTube?
Oh yeah, my favorite question that is. My favorite question. I'll put in a link. How's that?
Okay, because it'd be nice to see it. Yeah, nice to catch up. Yeah.
Please, everyone, you're welcome to go to my channel. There's hundreds of videos, literally about 300 videos. So
That's good.
It's there, my friend. It's in the comments. And maybe everyone do go to the comments page and engage, because that's where you connect with people, right? Don't just come to these events and leave not connect with anyone. Go to the comments page, see people's comments, reply to the ones that resonate with you. But more importantly, click on profiles and then connect with people. Follow them, connect with them, and then book conversations with them. That's where things move forward on LinkedIn. That's where everything works really properly. And if you don't connect and engage and talk, nothing happens. Anyway, Kiefer, you're a star, my friend. Right, go to my YouTube.
Take care, I will check it out, my friend. I will check it out. And thank you, Tolu, for having me on tonight. Much appreciated.
You so much. Thank you for being here. And yeah, we look forward to having you again and again join us on stage. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We have it. Selena, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing it. And I
thank
love
you, everyone. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Take care. Take care. Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.